Write this down. Control is management. Influence is leadership. Say it with me. Control manages tasks. Influence mobilizes destiny. Control is about hands. Influence is about heart. Control ties people down. Influence calls people up. And this is not a trendy TED idea. This is kingdom design. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. Genesis 1:26. That word dominion, rad, means to govern by design, to rule by purpose, to lead as a reflection of the manufacturer's intent. Control is what you do when you've lost sight of that intent. Leadership is what flows when image and assignment are aligned. Leaders don't push, purpose pulls. Say it again. Leaders don't push, purpose pulls. Pushing is proof you don't have a clear, lived vision. When the vision is visible, people move voluntarily. They choose. Influence is the gravity of purpose. Where purpose is seen, pressure is unnecessary. Where vision is absent, force becomes a substitute. Write this down. Pressure is the tax you pay for a lack of vision. The Bible says where there is no vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29:18. Perish means they cast off restraint. They won't align. They won't stay. Why? Because no magnet is on. Vision is the magnet of authority. We'll get there. But tonight I am confronting your urge to control. Whatever you control, you must constantly police. Whatever you influence, you simply cultivate. The rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, Jesus said, but it shall not be so among you. Matthew 20:25-6. That's Jesus canceling control culture. He is saying kingdom leadership is not domination of people, it is dominion through purpose. We confuse dominion with domination because we lost identity. Write this down. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. And assignments don't need to bully. They attract resources, people, and timing through clarity. Influence is the fruit of vision discovered in identity. Control is the bandage you wrap around confusion. Let me ask the core question we must answer. How do I stop managing by control and start leading with influence that lasts? We will not answer with corporate myths or personality tricks. Charisma is not leadership. Charisma can manipulate for a moment. We are going to anchor this in scripture, decode it with a mechanical lens, and internalize it with an identity frame. By the time we are done, you will see why vision is more important than leadership. Because leadership is the byproduct of a compelling, righteous vision lived out. Jesus didn't like crowds. He fed them, then dismissed them. He invested in a few whose identity he redefined and whose vision he clarified. Why? Because crowds demand to be managed. Disciples can be influenced. Write this down. Control secures compliance for a moment. Influence aligns conviction for a lifetime. That's why crowd chasing pastors burn out. Parents scream at their children. Managers micromanage their teams. No vision, no pull, only push. Exhaustion is often a sign you are compensating for the absence of influence. Say it with me. Purpose pulls. When you see your future, you no longer need permission. And when your people see the future, you no longer need a whip. Think about God's original instruction. He didn't say, let us make man and let us control them. He said, let them have dominion. Let them lead. Let them function. Let them produce. Leaders don't seek followers. Followers are attracted to leaders. Why? Fruit. Influence is measured by fruit, not followers. Jesus said, by their fruit you shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Control counts heads. Influence counts harvest. Write this down. Control is external pressure. Influence is internal conviction. One is imposed from without. The other is ignited from within. That's why control expires when the controller leaves the room. Influence remains when no one is watching. You don't need a guard when people are governed by a vision in the heart. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. Your belief system becomes your behavior system. We will reset that system. We will remove the internal speed limit that makes you settle for control instead of cultivating influence. Some of you learned control in religion. You were told to obey rules without understanding purpose. You were tamed, not trained. Write this down. Whatever you tolerate, you will never change. You tolerated dysfunction, so you managed it. You tolerated lateness, so you babysat attendance. You tolerated ignorance, so you weaponized titles. But leadership is born when toleration ends. When you say, no more pushing, I will clarify purpose until it pulls. That decision is your turning point from manager to leader. Let me give you the promise of this journey. Over these sessions, we will replace the corporate control narrative with a biblical revelation, a mechanical metaphor, and an identity awakening. The Bible will give us the original blueprint. The mechanical lens will show you how leadership is distributed by function. Every part leads when aligned. We will prove it in the engine room. Identity will deliver the courage to stop pushing and start becoming the magnet. Your job is what they pay you to do. Your work is what you were born to do. Influence comes from your work. Your gift serves to the world with clarity of vision. Say this out loud. I am an image bearer with a mandate to influence. Again, I am an image bearer with a mandate to influence. This is not hype. This is Genesis. This is kingdom. This is the contrast. Control is about fear. Fear of loss. Fear of being exposed. Fear of people. Influence is about faith. Faith in the vision. Faith in the gift. Faith in the God who said, have dominion. If you chase control, you will produce compliant followers who wait for instructions. If you cultivate influence, you will produce leaders who think, create, and carry the vision farther than you can run. So here is the line in the sand tonight. Stop controlling. Start influencing. Put away the whip. Pick up the mirror. Rediscover the image. Clarify the vision. Live it out loud until it becomes visible, measurable fruit. Then watch as purpose pulls customers, partners, students, children, citizens without you pushing. What did I say? Leaders don't push, purpose pulls. And from this foundation, we will build a life, an organization, and a culture that no longer needs to be managed into obedience, but is inspired into destiny. Now let's go back to the manufacturer's blueprint. Read with me, hear it in your bones. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Genesis 1:26. Write this down. Image before instruction, likeness before leadership. God never gave dominion to confusion. He gave dominion to his image. That Hebrew word for dominion, rad, say it, rad means to govern by design, to rule as a steward of purpose, to bring order to an environment without violating the nature of its occupants. It is management by mandate, not manipulation by fear. It is authority rooted in assignment, not in ego. Notice the scope: over fish, over birds, over cattle, over all the earth, over things that creep, never over people. Write it down big. Dominion is over creation, never over each other. The urge to control people is a symptom of the fall, not a feature of the kingdom. After sin, we read, he shall rule over you. Genesis 3:16. That's fallout, not design. Kingdom leadership is not the subjugation of humans. It is the cultivation of environments where humans flourish in their own assignments. Say this with me. I'm not here to control. I'm here to influence. Again, I'm not here to control. I'm here to influence. Influence is the fruit of dominion properly applied. Let us make man is species, not male. The Hebrew Adam is humanity. Then it says, and let them have dominion. Not him, them. Write this down. Leadership is male and female because dominion is corporate by design. Who's the leader? No one. And everyone in their domain, everyone in their function. That's why titles can be lies. You can have a title and still have no authority, because authority is only recognized where assignment is active. The image of God is your credentials. The likeness of God is your capacity. You were wired to reflect his character and execute his intent. Say it out loud. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Now make it personal. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. Let me press you. Why do so many leaders resort to control? Because they lost sight of the image and the assignment. When identity is blurred, you reach for tools you were never issued: threats, guilt, punishment, manipulation. When identity is clear, you deploy tools that match heaven's pattern, vision, values, fruit, and example. Write this down. The image authorizes your being. The assignment authorizes your doing. The fruit authenticates your authority. That's why Jesus said, by their fruit you shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Not by their badge, not by their chair, by fruit that solves problems within a defined domain. Let's unpack the image. The Hebrew Tselem image means a shadow, a representation, a visible replica of an invisible reality. You were created to be God's authorized representative on earth, carrying his moral nature, his creativity, his wisdom. Likeness, Demuth, speaks to functional resemblance, pattern, method. So image says you are, likeness says you can. Together they install a leadership operating system. Dominion red activates that system in a territory. Write it down. Identity furnishes the hardware. Likeness installs the software. Dominion runs the program in a specific environment. Now here is a key people keep missing. Vision is more important than leadership. Write it down and don't fight me. Vision is more important than leadership because vision gives birth to legitimate authority. When you see clearly, you can serve specifically. Sight of destination organizes resources, clarifies roles, and reduces the need for control. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29:18. Perish there means they cast off restraint. They won't align because they can't see where they fit. Vision is the frame that tells the parts how to function. Without vision, dominion mutates into domination. With vision, dominion becomes influence. Consider Adam's first assignment in the garden. God did not give him a title. He gave him a task. Tend and keep. Name the creatures. Classify. Cultivate. Authority emerged from accurate naming and faithful cultivation. Write this down. Authority comes from assignment executed with fruitfulness, not from position decorated with applause. If you are a parent, you understand this. You can yell, "Because I said so," and secure a minute of compliance, or you can cast a vision for your home, who we are, where we're going, and watch your children rise to match an identity. If you are a manager, same truth. Titles will secure time clocks. Vision will ignite ownership. Say it with me. I lead by assignment. Again, I lead by assignment. God never gave humans authority over each other in Genesis 1. He gave humans authority over Earth's systems: water, air, soil, seasons, animals, ideas, industries. That means you are not authorized to dominate people, but to serve them by mastering a domain. When you bring order to chaos, solutions to problems, and value to environments, people will willingly align. That's influence, voluntary alignment, birthed by visible value. Write this down. You will never become a true leader until you are introduced to yourself. True leadership is self-discovery. You are not meeting a new technique tonight. You are meeting the image you abandoned for survival. Religion trained many to chase titles because we tolerated ignorance of identity. The kingdom restores the blueprint: image, likeness, dominion, not robes, not rings, not corner offices, assignment, fruit, credibility. That is why when Jesus called fishermen, he spoke to assignment: follow me and I will make you fishers of men. Matthew 4:19. He didn't give them robes. He gave them a vision that redefined their function. Let me challenge your posture. If vision is absent in your department, your family, your ministry, control will leak in automatically. Pressure will go up. Morale will go down. Write it down. Pressure grows where purpose is blurry. Influence grows where purpose is visible. Your responsibility as an image bearer is to see before you say, to clarify before you command, to model before you manage. When you embody the future, you announce authority flows without force. People don't follow speeches, they follow sight lived out. And hear me, everyone was created to lead somewhere, not everywhere. Dominion is domain specific. Find your domain and your authority will announce itself. This is why jealousy is foolish. Your assignment is the address of your authority. You cannot be fired from your work because your gift is your employment with heaven. Your job is what they pay you to do. Your work is what you were born to do. And when your work becomes visible, people will trust your leadership without needing your permission slips. Say it. I am deployed to a domain. My fruit will authorize me. Let's shut a door tonight. Send eviction papers to the control mindset masquerading as stewardship. Control is fear of losing what you were never given to own. Influence is faith in the vision you were mandated to serve. The God who said, let them have dominion, also said, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion. Genesis 1:28, fruit first, multiply second, fill third, subdue fourth, then have dominion continually. Order matters. Fruit validates vision, multiplication spreads it, filling establishes it, subduing protects it. Dominion sustains it. Write this down. Fruit is the proof of image and the credential of influence. So stand up on the inside. Wipe the foreign labels off your soul. Say it with me. I'm not here to control. I'm here to influence. Louder. I'm not here to control. I'm here to influence. Say it again. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. I carry the image of God. My authority comes from my assignment. Vision is my priority. Fruit is my evidence. This is your foundation. From this identity, we will move forward, not by pushing people, but by revealing purpose so clearly that it pulls them into their own dominion. That is the kingdom. That is the original design. And that is the leader. The world is waiting to meet you. Now we must deal with the thing, under the thing, the governor inside. Write this down. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. Not in his head, his heart. In scripture, the heart is the subconscious, the hard drive, where your true beliefs run your life while your mouth sings new songs. Your life will never consistently rise above your dominant belief about yourself. That belief is your internal speed limit. You can paint the car. You can buy new tires. You can shout affirmations at the dashboard. If the governor is set at 80, you can press that pedal to the floor and the car will hum, but it will not go beyond what the internal mechanism permits. Many of you have been trying to lead beyond a belief system that forbids it. That's why you compensate with control. Control is the exhaust sound of a governed soul. I rode in a bus once that looked powerful, big engine, the driver confident, the pedal to the metal, but it wouldn't cross 90 kilometers per hour. He kept pressing and watching the needle tremble at the ceiling. There was nothing wrong with the road. The problem was the governor. Write this down. The limit is not out there. The limit is in here. You are not fighting speed signs. You are fighting settings. And until we reset your settings, you will keep pushing people because you cannot permit yourself to accelerate with purpose. Leaders don't push, purpose pulls, but only free minds can feel that pull. Let me tell you about my Autobahn moment. I rented a car in Germany years ago. I heard there was a highway with no speed limit. That sounded illegal to my Caribbean brain. So I got on the road. I'm doing 120, then 140, hands sweating. I'm looking for the sign with that blessed /Struder number. I see it, no limit. Now here is the shock. My foot refused to push further. For years, my mind had been trained by signs, teachers, penalties, parents, good people who place limits for safety. Even with no external sign, an internal policeman grabbed my ankle. The car could do more. The road could take more. Purpose invited me to more. But my belief system resisted. Then I said to myself, what did God say? He said, let them have dominion, not let them have fear. I pressed 160, 170. The car glided as if it were created for it. Write this down. There is life after 170. Translation, there is leadership beyond the limit you were taught to accept. You cannot influence at kingdom speed with a slave's governor. Which brings us to the most tragic leadership case study in history. Israel out of Egypt, delivered but not free. Deuteronomy 6:23 says he brought us out to bring us in. Out is deliverance. In is freedom. They left the chains but carried Egypt in their hearts. How do we know? They kept asking for leeks and onions, the cuisine of captivity. Numbers 11:5. When the spies saw the giants, this is their confession. We were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Numbers 13:33. Did you catch the psychology? They didn't ask the giants for a survey. Their self-perception licensed the enemy's opinion. Write it down. People will see you the way you see you. That's why control feels necessary when identity is small. A grasshopper mind must control to feel safe. A son walks free and influences by presence. Say it with me. Delivered is location. Freedom is mentality. Again, delivered is location. Freedom is mentality. Romans 12:2 commands, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, not by relocating your desk, not by getting a new title, by installing a new belief system. That's why some leaders change companies and repeat the same dysfunction. They move cities but never move settings. The heart remains governed. Let me bring the lion into the room. Your eyes say that's an elephant. Your belief says that's lunch. The lion is not the strongest. He is not the biggest. He cannot run the fastest. But the lion's attitude converts everything it sees into food. The elephant sees the lion and says predator. The lion sees the elephant and says meal, same facts, different filter, and influence follows attitude. Write this down. Attitude is a product of belief. Belief is a governor. Governors determine your leadership ceiling. Some of you keep seeing problems where your gift sees platforms. You manage because you mislabel. You call a giant a wall. Joshua and Caleb called the same giant bread. They are food for us, Numbers 14:9. That's lion talk. Kingdom leaders eat what others run from. Now let's confront the most dangerous comfort in this room, toleration. Whatever you tolerate, you will never change. Write it big, tattoo it in your mind. You've been tolerating small expectations of yourself, so you surround yourself with smaller people you can control. You've been tolerating lateness in your soul, procrastination, so you create urgent crises to feel necessary. You've been tolerating victim talk. They won't let me. They don't see me. So you weaponize titles to force respect. Stop. Leadership is born when toleration ends. The day you end inner tolerations, control will evaporate as an unnecessary tool. How do we reset the governor? 3 moves. Number 1, replace the script. The heart does not change by information alone. It changes by meditation. Install new language. Say it until your subconscious believes it. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. I am deployed to a domain. My fruit authorizes me. Vision is more important than leadership because vision produces me as a leader. Number 2, expose yourself. Take your soul on the Autobahn. Go where the limit you feared is normal. Sit with people who are living at the speed your purpose requires. Let new normal rewrite your settings. The Bible calls this beholding. We all, with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed. 2 Corinthians 3:18. Number 3, end agreements with fear. Jesus said, if the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. John 8:36. Freedom indeed is freedom from the need to control. It is the courage to let purpose pull and fruit prove. Write this down. Freedom is not permission. Freedom is capacity aligned with purpose. When your mind is free, you stop chasing compliance and start cultivating conviction. You move from policing to pastoring, from managing to modeling. You speak less and show more. You threaten less and produce more. This is the governor reset. Let's activate. Put your hand on your chest. Say with me. My mind is my governor. I reset it now. As I think in my heart, so I become. I end inner tolerations tonight. I renounce smallness. I reject control. Purpose pulls me. Vision sets my pace. Fruit is my evidence. Again, I am not an accident. I am an assignment. The sun makes me free. I drive at kingdom speed. Now breathe. That's the sound of a governor breaking. From this moment, you will feel a new acceleration, not recklessness, but righteous momentum, because deliverance has met freedom and your leadership is no longer pushing. It is being pulled by a liberated belief system. Let's diagnose it with precision. Why does control fail and influence last? Write this down. Control seeks compliance. Influence bursts conviction. Compliance stops when supervision ends. Conviction continues when no one is watching. Control depends on your presence. Influence survives your absence. This is why some of you are exhausted. You are sustaining behavior by proximity instead of planting belief by purpose. Say it with me. Control produces moments. Influence produces movement. Control is always fueled by fear and insecurity. Fear of losing people, fear of being exposed, fear of not being needed, insecurity about your identity and your assignment. So you grab the whip, you raise your voice, you lengthen the policy manual, you thicken the locks. But here, John, perfect love casts out fear. Fear has torment, 1 John 4:18. When you are tormented by fear, you will torment others with control. Write this down. Insecurity manufactures rules. Clarity manufactures roles. Influence is fueled by clarity of assignment. When you know who you are and why you're here, you stop competing and you start completing. You stop policing and you start positioning. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. And assignments don't panic, they perform. Look at Jesus. He didn't trust crowds. The Bible says Jesus did not entrust himself to them because he knew all people. John 2:24, 2:5. He could draw thousands, but he would slip away. Perceiving that they intended to come and make him king by force, he withdrew alone. John 6:15. Numbers are not authority. Write it down. Charisma can gather. Vision governs, and only purpose sustains followership. Jesus invested in the committed. He chose 12 that they might be with him and then sent them with assignment. Mark 3:14. He wasn't impressed with applause. He was building alignment. Crowds demand to be managed. Disciples can be influenced. That's why in John 6:66, when the teaching clarified purpose, many of his disciples turned back. If you live for numbers, you will die from numbers. If you live for vision, you will outlast the crowd. Control fails because it creates actors, not sons. Write this down. Control trains people to perform under surveillance. Influence trains people to transform under conviction. This is why the moment the controller steps out, the culture collapses. Do you remember Israel at Sinai? Moses disappears into the mountain and supervision ends. Within days, they are building a golden calf, Exodus 32. That is compliance without conviction, religion without revelation. They obeyed Moses' presence, but never embraced God's purpose. Control can keep people from dancing around idols while you watch, but it cannot remove the idol in the heart. Influence addresses the heart. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, Proverbs 23:7. Until you change the heart, you are just timing the behavior. Control also fails because it breeds deceit. When people are pressured, they learn to hide. They tell you what you want to hear. They meet the letter and miss the life. Influence breeds honesty. When a clear vision governs, people surface problems early because they're committed to the destination, not to appeasing the driver. Write it down. Pressure produces pretenders. Purpose produces partners. If your team, your home, your ministry is filled with yes people who are silent in meetings and cynical in hallways, you don't have influence, you have intimidation. And intimidation is the weakest form of leadership. It is leadership by absence of alternatives. Influence lasts because it transfers responsibility to the inside. It moves the government from external threats to internal values. Nehemiah didn't threaten people into building a wall. He cast a vision so compelling that the people had a mind to work. Nehemiah 4-6. That's the language of influence, mindset, alignment. When they see what you see, you don't have to stand over them with a stopwatch. They govern themselves because the destination has seized their imagination. Say it with me, purpose pulls when people see it. Influence endures because it is fruit-based, not force-based. Joseph's influence outlived scandal, prison, and geography because his gift kept solving problems in any environment. Genesis 41. Paul wrote letters from prison that governed churches he could not visit. Why? Influence is authority extended by fruit and by vision, not by physical presence. Even death could not stop Jesus' movement because he had transferred vision into the hearts of disciples. The Spirit wrote the law on their hearts. That's influence, internal law replacing external lashes. Let me give you the life cycle of control. Write this down. Control begins with fear, continues with pressure, produces compliance, incubates resentment, and ends in rebellion. It always ends in rebellion because humans were designed for dominion, not domination. When you suppress the image will eventually push back, either by passive resistance or by open revolt. Influence has a different life cycle. Influence begins with clarity, continues with modeling, produces conviction, incubates ownership, and ends in multiplication. That's why influence lasts, because it reproduces itself in others. By their fruit you shall know them, Matthew 7:16, and fruit carries seed. Some of you are confusing fast results with lasting results. Control can get you immediate action. Shout loud enough and you'll get hands to move. Threaten hard enough and you'll get reports by Friday. But check in 3 months, check in a year. Influence looks slow at first because it invests in understanding, values, and alignment. But once it takes hold, it accelerates without you pushing. Write this down. Control is heavy on the front end and empty on the back end. Influence is heavy on the front end and compounding on the back end. Which harvest do you want? Measure yourself with this test. What remains when you leave the room? If excellence drops, if morale dips, if truth hides, if deadlines slide, you have control. If standards hold, if creativity rises, if candor increases, if initiative multiplies, you have influence. Say it with me. My absence will not lower the assignment. Again, my fruit will lead when I am gone. That is the mark of influence, self-propelling purpose embedded in people. So what do? Replace fear with clarity. Replace pressure with vision. Replace surveillance with modeling. Replace commands with covenant. Re-anchor your authority in your assignment and let your fruit authorize your voice. Jesus didn't trust crowds. He trusted his calling and those who embraced it. Stop counting heads. Start clarifying the horizon. Stop managing feelings. Start mobilizing futures. Write this down. Control produces short-term obedience. Influence produces enduring alignment with purpose. This is the diagnosis. Now you know why the medicine you've been using doesn't heal. Shift from the whip to the why. From the rule book to the roadmap, from compliance to conviction. Leaders don't push, purpose pulls, and when purpose pulls, it keeps pulling long after your hands are off the wheel. Purpose pulls. Write this down. Vision is the magnet of authority. Authority is not a badge you wear. It is a field you generate when your assignment is clear and lived. The scripture says of Jesus, he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. Matthew 7:29. The scribes had titles. Jesus had a mission. He opened his mouth in Nazareth and read his job description. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he hath anointed me. Then he listed the assignment. Preach good news to the poor. Heal the brokenhearted. proclaim liberty to captives, recovery of sight, set at liberty those who are oppressed. Luke 4:18, 1-9. That's why even demons cried out and obeyed him. What new doctrine is this? For with authority commandeth he, even the unclean spirits, and they do obey him. Mark 1:27. Write it down. Authority is the fruit of assignment, not position. When you live your mission, your words are weighty without volume. Listen to Jesus before Pilate. For this cause was I born, and for this cause came I into the world. John 18:37. That statement is pure magnetism. Cause consciousness. Assignment clarity. That's why crowds could not manipulate him and rulers could not intimidate him. He was pulled by purpose. When you are pulled by purpose, you stop pushing people. Say it with me, I'm not here to control, I'm here to influence. Purpose pulls me and those I lead. Again, I'm not here to control, I'm here to influence. Purpose pulls me and those I lead. Leaders don't seek followers. Followers are attracted to leaders. Write this down. Fruit attracts, force repels. You don't chase bees, you grow flowers. Bees come because nectar is present, color is clear, and fragrance is consistent. Vision is your nectar, clarity is your color, character is your fragrance. Some of you are running around the garden with a net, sweating, yelling at bees. Put the net down. Plant the right flowers. That means define a compelling destination, set healthy boundaries, and model high standards. When the garden is right, the bees will volunteer. Proverbs 29:18 warns us. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Another translation says they cast off restraint. Why? Because they cannot see the destination, so nothing holds them. Vision restores restraint by attraction, not by coercion. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain, that he may run that readeth it. Make it plain, legible, visible, simple enough that a child can draw it and a stranger can choose it. Write this down. Vision defines three things: destination, boundaries, and standards. Destination answers where we are going and why it matters. Boundaries answer what we will not do, even if it is profitable. Standards answer how we behave on the way. With those three, pressure drops because purpose is pulling. Let me give you a picture. Vision is like a magnetic field. Place a magnet under a sheet and scatter iron filings on top. At first, chaos, particles facing random directions. But the moment the field is activated, lines appear, particles align. No yelling, no shoving, no meetings about meetings, just invisible order imposed by a consistent pull. That is leadership by vision. You are the magnet when your assignment is lived, spoken, and demonstrated. Your words, your routines, your decisions generate the field. People and gifts begin to align because the lines of force are visible. Write it down. People don't align to personalities, they align to patterns that serve a purpose. Now some of you say, but people still resist. Of course. Not every substance responds to a magnet. Wood doesn't. Plastic doesn't. That doesn't mean the magnet is broken. It means the material is not made for that field. Stop chasing what your vision is not designed to attract. Purpose not only pulls the right people, it releases the wrong ones. That's mercy. When you make the vision plain, people can self-select. The wrong ones will deselect. Don't be offended. Protect the field. Keep the lines clear. Say it with me. My vision will reveal my partnerships. How do you know your vision is truly pulling? Test it. If you exit the room and the standards remain, the deadlines hold, and the creativity increases, the magnet is on. If you must remind adults to act like adults every hour, you have not made it plain. Write this down. If they cannot run after reading, you have not written plainly enough. A clear vision allows people to govern themselves because the destination arrests the heart. My food, Jesus said, is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. John 4:34. That's pull. He was not dragged by need. He was drawn by assignment. Let me be practical. By tomorrow, Craft one sentence that names your destination and your difference. Then list 3 boundaries you will not violate to get there. Then name 5 standards you will never lower on the journey. Put it on one page, on walls, in wallets, in meetings. Stop burying vision in paragraphs and policy books. Make it plain, so plain that a new volunteer can say it back and a seasoned cynic can't pretend not to understand. Vision is more important than leadership because vision births legitimate leadership. It authorizes your no and dignifies your yes without apology. Write this down. Clarity is kindness. The kindest thing you can do for people is to show them the future and the road to it. When you do, followers cease to be a commodity you collect. They become partners who choose. That choice is sacred. Influence respects the will. When vision is visible, people's wills are invited, not invaded. They opt in, and when they opt in, their energy arrives pre-motivated. No cattle prods, no bribery. Purpose is pulling. I learned this early. I used to preach and push, the room would clap, but nothing would move. Then I began to paint pictures, verbal photographs of a transformed family, a disciplined team, a generous city. I stopped yelling at lateness and started showing a culture where excellence is the air we breathe. Do you know what happened? People began to arrive early. They weren't afraid of me. They were in love with a picture the magnet turned on. That is what you must do in your domain. See it, say it, show it, sustain it. Authority will follow you home because authority follows assignment lived in public. Say it again. I'm not here to control. I'm here to influence. Purpose pulls me and those I lead. Louder. Purpose pulls me and those I lead. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Your assignment is the switch that activates the field. Your fruit is the fragrance that invites the bees. Your standards are the rails that keep the train on track. Stop chasing, start clarifying, stop pushing, start pulling with vision. When purpose becomes visible, people choose alignment, and when they choose, they come with their hearts. That is the magnet of authority. That is why your next season will be lighter in your hands and heavier in your impact, because purpose will do the heavy lifting while you keep the picture clear and your life consistent. Now let's go under the hood. Write this down. Leadership is a function, not a rank. One vision, many functions, one destination movement. And every functioning part is a leader when it is aligned to purpose. Picture the engine room. Pistons going up and down, spark plugs igniting, fuel injectors misting, a serpentine belt humming across pulleys, an alternator charging, an oil pump circulating life through tiny arteries, a timing belt keeping order like a quiet metronome, all of it aimed at one outcome, forward motion. Ask the question with me. Who's the leader? Say it. Who's the leader? Answer it. No one. And everyone. Importance is contextual inside the shared purpose. At ignition, the spark plug is king. At highway speed, the cooling system is crucial. At night, a $2 fuse for the headlights matters more than your leather seats. Leadership is distributed by function. Write this down. Importance is not absolute. It is assignment specific. Purpose defines priority. Stop asking who is more important and start asking what is this part assigned to do for our vision. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you. 1 Corinthians 12:21. Paul called it the body. I'm giving you the engine. Same revelation. God set the members, every one of them, in the body as it hath pleased him. 1 Corinthians 12:18. He designed interdependence so that no one could boast and no one could hide. When every joint supplies, the whole body makes increase according to the effective working by which every part does its share. Ephesians 4:16. Translate that to the hood. When every part does its share, talk appears, wheels turn, and vision moves. I learned this lesson on the side of a road. Big car, beautiful emblem, seats that could massage a king, but it would not start. I called the mechanic. He opened the hood, and after 2 hours of dignified diagnostics, he lifted a tiny terminal wire, frayed, corroded, cheap, $4. He replaced it The whole car woke up like Lazarus. Write this down. A $4 wire can shut the car down. Neglect the small function and the big vision stalls. Some of you are hemorrhaging energy trying to fix attitudes at the steering wheel. And the problem is a neglected ground wire in operations, a missed protocol in onboarding, a forgotten intercessor in the back room. Stop rebuking the driver. Repair the wire. Leadership is a function, not a rank. Define leadership by contribution to the mission. Say it with me. In my lane, I lead. Again, in my lane, I lead. That is kingdom order. Let them have dominion. Genesis 1:26. Not let him, not let her, them. Dominion, rad distributed rulership by function in a shared environment under a singular vision. That's why control fails here. Control tries to make the pistons behave like the crankshaft and punishes the spark plug for not being a belt. Influence recognizes design and calls each part to lead in its domain. Write this down. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Your assignment is a function. Find it, lead it, fruit or prove it. Consider timing. If the camshaft and the crankshaft are off 2 degrees, the valves misfire. You get noise, heat, and no movement. That is a staff meeting without a shared calendar, a church service without a run sheet, a business launch without specs. You are burning fuel and going nowhere. Purpose pulls, but timing aligns. Leaders don't push parts, they align timing. They make the vision plain, then synchronize functions so that spark meets fuel at the right moment under the right pressure, producing organized power. Write this down. Clarity creates cadence. Cadence converts energy into motion. Who's the leader when the pedal goes down? No one. And everyone, the piston says, follow me up. The rod says, I'm transferring force. The crank says, I'm turning torque. The gearbox says, I'm translating this for the terrain. The tires say, I'm touching the mission field. Leadership is a relay inside one lap. Each part leads while it is carrying the baton. When its moment passes, it submits to the next leader without jealousy. That's distributed functional leadership. That's why Paul insists the eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of thee. And the head, watch this, cannot say to the feet, I have no need of you. Even the visionary needs traction. Write this down. Don't confuse visibility with value. The hood ornament is visible. It leads nothing. The oil filter is invisible. It preserves everything. Titles are hood ornaments. Functions are filters. Stop promoting ornaments and neglecting filters. In the kingdom, by their fruit you shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Fruit is functional value. Does your part transform fuel into forward? Does your contribution make the vision move when you touch it? That is leadership. Now, let me provoke you. Some of you are blocking the engine. You are the boss of the belt, and you hoard information. You think control will protect your job. Write this down. Hoarding is sand in the gears. Influence is oil in the system. Share talk. Document processes. Train your replacement. Equip the saints for the work of ministry. Ephesians 4:12. Moses learned this. God took of the Spirit on him and distributed it to 70 elders. The load moved because the function multiplied. Numbers 11:17. You're burning out because you are trying to be the entire engine. You're not the engine. You are a part. Lead your part. Let's get practical. Audit your engine. Map your mission to functions. For every outcome on your vision page, name the part that delivers it. Who is the spark? Who is the injector? Who is the belt that keeps rhythm across departments? Who is the oil culture carriers who reduce friction? Who is the radiator leaders who cool conflict and keep heat inside power lines? Then ask the ruthless question, where is the $4 wire? A small misfit, an untrained volunteer in a critical junction, an outdated system that keeps shorting the field. Fix that. And your horsepower returns without another prayer meeting about demons in the alternator. Write this down. Most breakdowns are functional, not spiritual. Stop casting out what you should tune up. Stop centralizing authority. Decentralize clarity. Give every part its specification, its tolerance, its measurement. Define interfaces, how the piston hands power to the rod, how communications hands a campaign to sales, how children ministry hands teenagers to youth. Purpose pulls, but systems sustain. When you codify how parts pass the baton, speed appears without shouting. That is covenant in motion, a culture where roles are clear, commitments are mutual, and the mission is sacred. Say it with me. No one and everyone. Again, no one and everyone. Everyone is a leader in their area of functioning. Your gift is your gear. Your fruit is your proof. Your timing is your trust. And your humility is your oil. Write this down. Leadership is the effective stewardship of a specified function for a shared vision. If you protect that sentence in your organization, engines will start, movements will move, and you will not need to push. Purpose will pull while every part leads, and the world will feel the acceleration. Now that the magnet is on, let's put something in the field that deserves to be pulled. Write this down. Your job is what they pay you to do. Your work is what you were born to do. Do not confuse salary with assignment. Genesis 1:26 did not say, let us make man in our image and let them get jobs. It says, let us make man in our image after our likeness and let them have dominion. Dominion, rad assignment over a domain. Your job can be terminated. Your work cannot be fired. If they fire you, your gift goes with you. Say it with me. If they fire me, my gift goes with me. That's why influence outlives positions, because influence follows the gift, and the gift creates value that the world cannot ignore. Peter says, as every man hath received the gift, even so minister the same one to another. 1 Peter 4:10. Gift received, service delivered. That's the cycle. Romans 12:6 adds, having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, let us use them. Write this down. Gifts are distributed. Leadership is discovered by deploying them. You don't become a leader by getting a title. You become necessary by releasing value. And necessity attracts. Proverbs 18:16 declares, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Not a resume, not a network, a gift. When your gift serves, doors open without you knocking them down. Fruit, not title, measures leadership. Jesus said, by their fruits ye shall know them. Matthew 7:16. He did not say by their business cards. Fruit is proof of essence. An apple tree doesn't need to explain itself. Write this down. Your gift is your seed. Your work is your cultivation. Your fruit is your influence. People line up for fruit. They pay for fruit. They recommend fruit. Fruit makes you necessary. When you are necessary, you don't have to manipulate. You just produce. Leaders don't push. Purpose pulls. And gift-fed fruit is the fragrance that draws the bees. Let me confront something. Many control because they are misplaced. You're in employment that exploits your hands while your work sleeps in your heart. When you're out of place, you overcompensate with pressure. When you're in place, you underwrite with fruit. Write this down. Misplacement manufactures manipulation. Deployment multiplies influence. A bird does not attend flying seminars. A fish does not join swimming mentorship groups. They deploy what they are, and the environment responds. That is dominion functioning in your design within your domain. Stop forcing, start flowing. Find your water, find your sky. Move from employment to deployment. How do you identify your dominant gift? Let me give you 4 tests. Number 1, the effortless excellence test. In what activity do you produce superior results with less conscious effort than most? Where do people say, how did you do that so quickly? That is a clue. Number 2, the gratitude trail test. Where does unsolicited gratitude keep finding you? The consistent thank you, you changed that for me, is a GPS pin to your gift. Number 3, the burden test. What problem angers you into action and refuses to let you stay quiet? Moses was provoked by injustice. Nehemiah wept over broken walls. Your holy irritation points to your deployment zone. Number 4, the fruit without force test. Where does fruit appear even when you are not trying to impress? Look back over years. There is a trail of solved problems in some area. That is you. Write this down. Purpose hides in patterns. Now say this with me. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. My gift locates my domain. Genesis 1:26 authorizes me to rule by function, not by force. This is why if they fire you, your gift goes with you and it will hire you. I used to sleep on the floor, roaches for roommates, no connections. But when I began to deploy one thing, clarity about purpose and leadership, doors opened I did not know existed. They flew me across oceans, not because I begged for influence, but because fruit traveled faster than my feet. Write it down. Serve until your fruit learns your address. Let me give you a kingdom metric. Are you making people pay attention by volume, or are you making people seek you by value? When your phone rings because your gift solved the problem last month and they want you to do it again, that is influence. Daniel did not spam Babylon. Excellence announced him. An excellent spirit was in him, Daniel 5:12, and kings demanded his counsel. Joseph didn't run for office in Egypt. He interpreted dreams, he deployed, and the gift promoted him. That's how kingdom influence works. You solve, you serve, you save time for others, and they come. Your gift becomes the magnet. Practical now. Write this down. Name your gift, aim your gift, and frame your gift. Name it, put language on it in one sentence. I simplify complex vision. I heal broken systems. I cultivate potential in young men. If you cannot name it, you cannot frame it. Aim it. Choose a domain where that gift produces measurable value. Education, finance, design, logistics, counseling. Don't be spooky, be specific. Frame it. Design offerings that allow you to serve consistently. A clinic, a workshop, a weekly call, a prototype, a newsletter, a lab. Serve 10 people for free for 30 days to test fruit. Capture testimonies. Measure outcomes. If people ask for more without you begging, you found nectar. Say it with me. Fruit is demand. Demand is influence. Some of you are hiding behind employment security while your work starves. The man in Matthew 25 buried his talent and called it safety. The master called it wickedness and laziness. Why? Because he preserved a seed that should have been planted. Write this down. Control buries. Faith deploys. Stir up the gift of God which is in thee. 2 Timothy 1:6. Stir means agitate, disturb, activate. Take it off airplane mode. Put your gift into public service. Start small. Start now. Don't ask permission to be what God already authorized. And please hear John 15:8. Herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. So shall ye be my disciples. God is not glorified by your title. He is glorified by your fruit. Fruit is proof you are connected to source and deployed in purpose. This eliminates the need to control. When fruit speaks, arguments end. When value arrives, politics sits down. Write this down. Produce so well that your enemies must promote you to access what you carry. Say it with me. My job is not my work. I will retire from employment, but I will never retire from my work. My gift creates value. My fruit creates demand. Influence follows my deployment. Again, you are not an accident. You are an assignment. Deploy your gift in service right where you are, at the desk, on the line, in the classroom, at the kitchen table. The bees are already flying. Give them a reason to land. When your gift goes to work, purpose will pull people to you, and you will lead without shouting, rule without rivalry, and influence without control, because fruit has made you necessary. Authority now must be reframed. Write this down. Titles announce. Fruit proves. People follow demonstrated solutions, not badges. The kingdom does not recognize costume power. The kingdom recognizes image and assignment producing results. Genesis 1:26 is still the Constitution. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. Image, likeness, then dominion. Identity first, then authority. Not the other way around. You can pin a badge on a chicken, but it still won't roar. Authority is the sound your identity makes when your assignment is working in public. Let me show you how serious heaven is about this. Acts 19 records 7 sons who tried to use a title without identity. They said, "We adjure you by Jesus whom Paul preacheth." The evil spirit answered, "Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who are you?" Acts 19:15. Write this down. Hell keeps a registry of identities, not titles. Jesus, I know identity. Paul, I know assignment with fruit. Who are you? No identity, no assignment, no authority. That is why some of you shout at problems and nothing moves. You are borrowing names you haven't become. Authority is recognized when identity and assignment consistently produce fruit in a defined domain. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. Say it with me. I must believe who I am before I behave what I am. Your subconscious, your heart, is your internal badge. If it reads imposter, you will self-sabotage every opportunity. If it reads image bearer on assignment, your presence authorizes action. People feel your certainty before they hear your sentences. That is why Jesus could say, "I am the light of the world." John 8:12, without a vote and darkness obeyed. Write this down. Own who you are so your presence can authorize what you do. Authority is domain specific. Stop trying to be everything everywhere. Assignments determine lanes, and lanes determine leverage. There are gates of influence built into human civilization, family, business, education, governance. Choose your gate by your gift. In the gate of family, a mother who knows her assignment leads generations without a microphone. Proverbs 31 shows an economy flowing from a household stewarded in wisdom, clothes, commerce, compassion, credibility. That is authority through identity. At the family gate, in the gate of business, Lydia sold purple and opened a city's heart to the gospel. Acts 16, her fruit created leverage. Her house became headquarters. In the gate of education, Daniel carried an excellent spirit into Babylon's academy. He outthought the magicians, redefined the standard, and kings deferred to his counsel, Daniel 6:3. Wooed and seraphim. In the gate of governance, Joseph interpreted a national problem, administrated a famine plan, and the throne submitted to his wisdom, Genesis 41. Write this down. Your assignment selects your gate. Your fruit secures your seat. Stop envying seats at other gates. If you are designed to father a city by discipling families, your crown is in the living room, not the courtroom. If you are assigned to build ethical enterprises, your scepter is a spreadsheet, your altar is integrity, and your signs and wonders are payrolls met on time and communities lifted. Authority is not where the lights are. Authority is where your gift produces undeniable solutions. Say it with me. My lane is my leverage. Again, my lane is my leverage. Titles can open a door for a moment. Fruit keeps it open for a lifetime. By their fruits ye shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Fruit is the evidence chain of real authority. When blind eyes open, Pharisees debate, but the people follow. When your company repeatedly delivers quality, competitors talk, but customers return. When your classroom consistently produces thinkers, policy will come to your desk. Write it down. Consistent fruit in one domain creates uncontested authority in that domain. That's why your influence increases when you narrow your focus. A laser is concentrated light. It cuts steel not because it is brighter, but because it is aligned. Let me confront the bad spirit. Some of you crave titles because you doubt your identity. You hope the label will lend you the weight your life refuses to produce. Hear me with love. Hood ornaments don't move cars. We said this before. Visibility is not value. Authority is not what they call you. It is what changes because you arrive. When Nehemiah came to Jerusalem, he did not start with a title parade. He walked the walls at night, saw the ruins, formed a plan, built teams, and in 52 days, a city stood up. Nehemiah 2:6. Titles bowed to fruit. Write this down. Don't seek to be called, seek to be recalled for results. How do you wear identity until it wears you? 3 steps. Number 1, saturate your mind with your manufacturer's words about you. Let them have dominion. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. Jeremiah 1-5. You are a royal priesthood. 1 Peter 2-9. Stop renting affirmations from fickle people. Install truth in your heart's hard drive. Number 2, script your assignment in 1 sentence and integrate it into your routines. Say it morning and night. Let your schedule bow to that sentence. Number 3, choose a measurable domain and accumulate fruit there for 12 months without chasing applause. Document outcomes. Testimonies are affidavits. Results are depositions. By the end of a year, your name will begin to stand for something in that lane, and that is authority. Say this aloud. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. My identity authorizes my activity. My assignment authenticates my authority. When you walk into your gate with that consciousness, meetings change. In family, your calm will govern storms. In business, your standards will discipline chaos. In education, your curiosity will pull excellence out of the board. In governance, your integrity will quarantine corruption. You won't need to shout. The room will recalibrate to the most consistent person who solves the real problem. That will be you. Remember, influence is the fruit of vision and identity aligned with dominion. Control is mere management of behavior. Authority is not volume, it's voltage. The label on a wire does not carry current. The copper inside does. Your title might read executive, teacher, parent, director. That's the label. The copper is your image of God discovered, your assignment defined, and your fruit delivered. Write this down. When identity is copper and assignment is current, authority flows and things work. This is how we lead without pushing, by becoming who we are, doing what we're sent to do, and letting consistent fruit in a defined domain do the talking. Now hear me with both ears open. Leadership is born when toleration ends. Write this down. Toleration is the midwife of mediocrity. Conviction is the mother of leaders. Influence begins where excuses die. Genesis 1:26 already authorized you. Let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion. Dominion read, refuse to live beneath your design. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. And assignments are not fulfilled by praying about what God already told you to do. They are fulfilled by ending what you have been permitting. Say it with me. Whatever I tolerate, I authorize. Again, whatever I tolerate, I authorize. Today, the permit expires. Let me take you on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. One woman sat down, a seamstress, quiet, tired, Rosa Parks. They told her, move. She said, no. That no was not disrespect. It was leadership. One refusal reset a culture. Write this down. Action is the language of conviction. She did not hold a press conference. She did not request a title. She refused to tolerate a lie any longer. That was the day her influence appeared. James 2:17 says, faith without works is dead. Dead faith keeps prayer meetings alive and communities asleep. Living faith prays and then moves. Stop praying, be active, pray for wisdom, stand for truth, pray for courage, sign your name, pray for strategy, change the policy. When conviction refuses, history adjusts. God has been consistent about this. At the Red Sea, Moses prayed, the people cried, and God said, why cry unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. Exodus 14:15. That's God saying, stop praying, be active, move, stretch your hand, open the sea. Jesus did the same. To the man with the withered hand, he said, stretch forth thine hand, Mark 3-5. To the paralytic, rise, take up thy bed and walk. John 5-8. Write this down. Miracles respect motion. Heaven answers verbs. Influence ignites the moment you refuse to tolerate dysfunction and take purpose-aligned action. Now bring this home. What are you tolerating? Vague vision that keeps grown people guessing? Micromanagement that suffocates initiative? Chronic lateness baptized as culture? Meetings without decisions? Gossip disguised as prayer requests? A bloated calendar that honors emergencies and ignores priorities? Write this down. Confusion is a choice. Clarity is an act. Say it with me. I choose clarity. Again, I choose clarity. Identify one tolerated dysfunction, just one, and decide its end date. Make it today, not Friday, not quarter's end, today. Influence starts at first refusal. Leadership is born when toleration ends. Here is the birthing plan. Number one, name it aloud. We have tolerated vague vision. We have tolerated micromanagement. Darkness loses power when it is named. Number two, replace it with a standard tied to purpose. If it is vagueness, install a one-page vision with destination, boundaries, and standards. If it is micromanagement, install delegation rules and decision rights by role. If it is lateness, install punctuality windows with consequences that protect excellence. Write this down. Ending toleration requires replacing chaos with covenant. Number three, communicate it three ways. Say it, write it, show it. In the meeting, in the memo, in the calendar. People believe what they keep seeing. Number four, enforce without apology. Consequences are not cruelty. They are clarity in action. Number five, measure fruit. Within 2 weeks, look for reduced friction, increased speed, and self-governance. That is influence appearing. Pain will visit. Expect it. That's why I call this birthing. Contractions are signals the new you is arriving. When you tighten tolerance, those who benefited from slack will accuse you of control. Smile. You are not controlling, you are aligning. Remember the engine under the hood. Some of you have tolerated a $4 ground wire corroded by excuses. Replace it today. The whole engine will wake up. Write this down. Mercy to dysfunction is cruelty to destiny. Say it with me. Leadership is born when toleration ends. Again, leadership is born when toleration ends. Some of you have been praying for unity while tolerating double messages. Stop praying. Be active. Cancel mixed signals. Say one thing everywhere. Some have been praying for creativity while tolerating fear of failure. Stop praying. Be active. Create a protected experiment, lane, small budgets, quick tests, fast reviews. Others have been praying for volunteers while tolerating muddy roles. Stop praying. Be active. Publish role charters and train to them. James 2:18 challenges us. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. Write this down. Faith is seen in systems. Conviction leaves a calendar trail. Set your watch. Before midnight, execute one act that ends toleration. Remove a useless report. Kill an aimless meeting. Publish the one-page vision. Announce decision rights. Fire the policy that punishes initiative. Hire the standard that rewards fruit. Send the email. Make the call. Change the seating chart. Update the org chart. Shut the back door of gossip with a Matthew 18 protocol. This is not emotional noise. This is covenant culture in embryo. Influence is about to cry out in your arms. Say it with me. I end toleration today. Louder, I end toleration today. I am not here to control. I am here to influence. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. My dominion is activated when my no becomes holy and my yes becomes focused. Elijah stood and asked, how long halt ye between two opinions? 1 Kings 18:21, that hesitancy ends tonight. The Lord working with them and confirming the word with signs following. Mark 16-20. When you move in purpose, signs follow motion. Stretch forth your hand. Go forward. Sit where God has seated you in his image, in your function, in your assignment. Push. This is the birthing pain of leadership. When you refuse to tolerate what violates your vision, influence starts breathing and the future starts moving toward you. We've defined identity and reframed authority. Now we must build a house that protects it. Write this down. Systems can police behavior for a moment, but only culture preserves purpose for a lifetime. We are moving from control systems to covenant culture. Control says, do this or else. Covenant says, we agree because we see. Agreement before assignment. Amos 3:3 asks, can two walk together except they be agreed? The answer is no. That's why many teams walk in circles. Tasks without agreement, rules without relationship, assignments without allegiance to vision. Kingdom order is different. Write the vision and make it plain, that he may run that readeth it. Habakkuk 2:2. Not that he may be dragged, he may run. What did I say? Purpose pulls. Say it back to me. Purpose pulls. Covenant is not a contract. Write this down. A contract binds hands to task. A covenant binds hearts to vision. Contracts are enforced by penalties. Covenants are enforced by shared values. In Exodus 24, the people said, all that the Lord has said will we do, and be obedient. Agreement before movement. That is how you institutionalize influence. You don't start with job descriptions. You start with a covenant page. Number one, vision in one sentence, where we are going and why it matters. Number two, values in behaviors. What does honor look like at 9:17 a.m. on Tuesday? Number three, lanes who leads by function. Number four, guardrails, what we never violate to get there. Number five, story flow, how we capture and share fruit. Then and only then, right roles, say with me, agreement before assignment. Design rhythms that pull, not pushes that punish. Write this down. Culture is what you repeatedly do with what you repeatedly say. So schedule your saying and doing. Every week, 15 minutes, vision briefings. The leader of the week stands and connects tasks to purpose. Read one scripture and one sentence of vision. Let them have dominion. Genesis 1:26. Then tell a story of fruit. A customer saved 3 hours. A family reconciled. A system simplified. A student woke up. Stories make vision visible. After stories, a peer-led improvement. One teammate presents a small fix that saved time or reduced friction. Not top-down peer-to-peer. This is how oil circulates in the engine. Remember, oil is culture. You reduce heat by design, not by yelling. Measure fruit, not just outputs. Jesus gave us the metric, by their fruits ye shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Write this down. Output counts units. Fruit counts value. Output says we made 50 calls. Fruit says we solved 5 real problems and grew 2 people. Build your scoreboard with 3 dials. Dial 1, value created, time saved, errors reduced, satisfaction risen, waste removed. Dial 2, problem solved, root causes eliminated, not symptoms soothed. Dial 3, people grown, skills acquired, confidence increased, leadership expanded. Every month, present evidence of purpose at work. Not vanity metrics, transformation metrics. Ask in every review, what changed because we arrived? Trust requires architecture. The Spirit brings liberty, but liberty without lanes is an accident. 2 Corinthians 3:17, 1 Corinthians 14:40. Write this down. Give decision rights to the lane and give guardrails to the vision. Decision rights answer. Who decides what? How fast? With what resources? Guardrails answer. Within what? Ethical and budget boundaries. Moses learned this from Jethro, leaders of 10s, 50s, 100s, Exodus 18. Distributed judgment. Domain decisions made at domain speed. In your world, that might look like this. Customer care can resolve issues up to a set threshold without escalation. Project leads can greenlight experiments within a sandbox budget. Pastoral teams can deploy volunteers based on a covenant competency map. Guardrails without handcuffs. Freedom within fences. Write this down. Trust scales by fruit and faithfulness. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. Build a ladder of trust. Level 1, observe and learn. Level 2, decide within templates. Level 3, design the template. Level 4, train others to design. Tie advancement not to time served, but to fruit produced with values intact. When a person's fruit is consistent and their values are clean, expand their decision rights. Authority recognized by results, not requested by resumes. Now, kill the control reflex. Control cultures create fear, and fear fakes compliance. Covenant cultures create trust, and trust ignites initiative. Write this down. Whatever you tolerate, you will never change. Stop tolerating meetings that begin with reports and end with blame. Reorder them. First 10 minutes, vision and scripture. Next 10, stories of fruit. Next, 20, peer-led improvements and root cause fixes. Final 10, commitments with deadlines. And always ask, what did I say? And you answer, purpose pulls. Again, purpose pulls. When the room repeats it, the nervous system resets. We are drawn by a destination, not driven by a dictator. Institutionalized celebration and correction, the kingdom way. Celebration, honor in public those who produce fruit aligned with values, not the loudest, the most valuable. Correction, use Matthew 18 as your process private first, then with a witness, then before leadership if necessary. Write this down. Covenant coaches, control condemns. We coach toward identity and assignment. We correct deviations that endanger vision. You are not punishing parts, you are protecting motion. Formalize your covenant with rituals. Onboarding is not paperwork, it is a ceremony. New teammates stand and declare, I am not an accident. I am an assignment. In my lane, I lead. I agree with this vision and these values. Pair them with a culture carrier for 90 days. Every quarter, hold a covenant renewal. Read the vision, recite the values, recount the fruit. Why? Because repetition rewires. Israel rehearsed the law, so children would ask, why do we do this? And fathers would answer with purpose. Deuteronomy 6, do the same. Put vision on walls, in agendas, on dashboards, and most importantly, in stories. Let me get very practical. Build a one-page covenant operating system. Top left, vision sentence. Top right, values and verbs, how we behave. Function map, who leads by lane. Bottom left, decision rights by level, what each lane can decide now. Bottom right, fruit dashboard value, problem solved, people grown. Review this page every Monday. Ask, where did we drift? Where did we demonstrate? Where do we need oil? Who needs a belt? Who is our $4 wire this week? Fix it before Friday. Write this down. Short feedback loops prevent long funerals. Replace policy police with covenant coaches. Assign a culture mechanic per department, a peer, who checks for alignment, not as a spy, but as oil. Their job is to listen for grind, to host after-action reviews, to collect wins, to surface frictions, and to facilitate peer-led solutions. No witch hunts, just wisdom hunts. Ask 5 questions after every project. Did we align with vision? What fruit appeared? What friction did we feel? What truth did we learn? What will we change by Friday? Institutionalize humility. Wisdom travels on questions. This is how movements mature from a person's charisma to a people's covenant. Jesus did not build a control system. He built a covenant community. He said, follow me, gave them a vision of the kingdom, modeled values, then sent them 2 by 2 with decision rights. Heal the sick, freely ye have received. Freely give. Agreement before assignment. Guardrails without handcuffs. Fruit as proof. Purpose pulling them from village to village. That is implementation. Say it with me. We agree before we assign. We design rhythms that pull. We measure fruit. We build trust with guardrails. We free leaders to function. What did I say? Purpose pulls. Louder. Purpose pulls. Write this down. Institutionalize influence with a covenant culture. Align hearts to vision. Codify values into rhythms. Release leaders in their lanes and let fruit do the talking. When this is in place, you won't need to push. The covenant will pull. Because vision will be visible, values will be audible, trust will be structural, and leadership will be natural. That's the kingdom way. Now we move from revelation to regimen. Write this down. Concrete, time-bound deployment converts revelation into measurable influence and sustained momentum. Influence is not poetry, it's a plan on a calendar. For the next 90 days, we're going to take Genesis 1:26 from verse to velocity, image, likeness, dominion, rad in motion. Say it with me. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. Vision is more important than leadership. That's why we start with vision. People don't follow you, they follow where you're going. Days 1 through 30, clarify. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain that he may run that readeth it. Write this down. If it isn't written, it isn't plain. If it isn't plain, no one can run. Take one page, only one, and define 3 things. Destination, boundaries, standards. Destination, where are we going and by when? Put a date on it. Boundaries, what we will do and what we will not do to get there. Standards, the non-negotiables for how we behave, the quality we deliver, and the speed we honor. Then make it visible. Put it on the wall, on the first slide of every meeting, on the screensaver, on the agenda header. Every room must point in the same direction. In those same 30 days, run a gift inventory for every person, including you. Use the 4 tests we've already identified: the effortless excellence test, the gratitude trail test, the burden test, the fruit without force test. Write this down. Purpose hides in patterns. Capture those patterns and name the gift in a single sentence. Then articulate job versus work for each person on one index card. Job, what they pay me to do. Work, what I was born to do. Collect those cards. Why? Because deployment requires alignment. Genesis 1:26 authorizes dominion by function. If you confuse hands with heart, you control people to get tasks done rather than influence them to deliver fruit. Say it with me. My gift locates my domain. My lane is my leverage. As you clarify, install a weekly covenant check from day 1, 10 minutes, same time, no excuses. Ask 3 questions. Did we act in agreement with our destination? Did we violate any boundary? Did we uphold our standards when it was inconvenient? Read the 1-page vision out loud. Remember, faith comes by hearing. Covenant is heard before it is seen. Anchor it in scripture. Declare John 15:8, herein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit. Fruit is the point. We are not rehearsing words. We are producing outcomes. Days 31 through 60, audit the engine. Pop the hood. Map functions like you'd map pistons, plugs, belts, and that notorious $4 ground wire. Who's the leader in the engine? No one. And everyone. Every part leads in its function when aligned to the crank of purpose. Draw the flow. Intake ideas, customers, students, combustion decision, production, learning, exhaust, delivery, feedback, lubrication, communication, ignition, vision, moments that spark action. Now, identify bottlenecks where decisions queue up behind one person, where a tool always crashes at 4 p.m., where signatures pile like traffic at a red light that never turns green. Write this down. A $4 dependency can stall a $1 million vision. Measure friction, time or request from creation to completion. Count approvals, count handoffs, count rework. Anywhere your count exceeds 2, you have control clutter. Replace it with clarity. Install decision rights. Who decides? At what thresholds? By what standards? Remove 1 redundant approval per process. Turn CC all emails into a public dashboard with status and owners. Document interfaces between parts, who hands to whom, with what definition of done. Keep the map on the wall and mark wins with dates when a $4 wire got replaced and the RPMs rose. This is not bureaucracy. This is bodybuilding. As Paul wrote, from whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplieth. Ephesians 4:16. Joints are interfaces. Supply is function. When joints are clear, the body grows. Days 61 through 90, experiment with influence. Write this down. Leaders don't push purpose pulls. Choose one control mechanism per team to retire for 30 days. Remove one layer of permission. Retire one blanket policy that treats adults like infants. Unlock a file that has been hostage to one desk. Replace every removal with one influence practice. Introduce peer teaching. Every Thursday, one person teaches the team a slice of their gift in 15 minutes. Start with the quiet ones. Fruit often whispers before it roars. Add a customer or community story to the start of your Monday meeting. Who was helped? What changed? What value arrived? Let value talk. Launch a visible fruit wall where metrics and testimonies live side by side. Before, after time frames, defect rates reduce, dollars saved, students advance, families stabilize. Your cadence will govern your culture. Weekly covenant check, non-negotiable. Bi-weekly fruit metrics review, 15 minutes, twice a month. Look at 3 numbers tied to your one-page standards. Speed to value, quality delivered, and satisfaction from the served. If your work is internal, measure cycle time, error escapes, and peer gratitude points. If external, measure response time, defect rate, and thank you notes. Keep it simple. Matthew 7:16, by their fruits ye shall know them, not by their spreadsheets, but the right spreadsheets tell the story of fruit. Monthly testimony of value created. Gather the team and let one person present a case where purpose pulled, not a show, a deposition. What was the problem? What gift was deployed? What fruit appeared? What changed for the person served? Record it. Archive it. Testimonies are cultural antibodies. They fight cynicism. Install feedback loops that convert push into pull. At the end of every week, ask 2 questions. What pulled you this week? What did we push? Record answers in a simple log. The goal is to shift the ratio toward pull by day 90. Aim for 70% of movement initiated by clear vision and gift demand, and only 30% by managerial push. If the ratio refuses to move, diagnose. Either your vision isn't plain, your gifts aren't deployed, or your engine has an unaddressed $4 wire. Fix one route at a time. Write this down. When purpose is visible, energy becomes voluntary. Tools matter. Build a small kit, the one-page vision, roll charters with decision rights, the engine map on the wall, the fruit wall with live metrics, the pull log, and the index cards listing each person's job versus work. These are not decorations. These are levers. James 2:18 says, I will show thee my faith by my works. Show your faith in your tools. Use them, review them, revise them. When the tools go dusty, culture goes dull. Test yourself. Every 14 days, run 3 tests. The clarity test, stop one person in the hallway and ask, what's our destination by when? If they hesitate, your vision is not plain enough. The gift deployment test asks, where did you use your work, what you were born to do this week? If they answer with job tasks, you are still employing, not deploying. The bottleneck test asks, where did you wait? If the same weight appears for 2 cycles, you have found your $4 wire. Replace it. Set your watch. Day 1 is sunrise tomorrow. 10 minutes to write the destination, boundaries, and standards. 30 minutes to run your personal gift inventory and write your work sentence. 1 hour before week's end to gather your team, read Genesis 1:26 and distribute index cards. Don't wait for permission. Heaven already authorized you. The Lord working with them and confirming the word with signs following. Mark 16-20. Signs follow those who move. Say it with me. 90 days of discipline. 90 days of deployment. 90 days of fruit. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. My lane is my leverage. Purpose pulls me. Vision governs me. Fruit will prove me. When you live this plan, you won't need to push people. They will run because they can see. You won't need to control parts. They will lead because they are aligned. This is field practice. This is covenant made visible. Go forward. Replace one $4 wire. Retire one control. Install one influence. and watch influence move from idea to evidence, measured, sustained, undeniable. Now we close the manual and step onto the road. Write this down. Control is management. Influence is leadership. Say it again. Control is management. Influence is leadership. Some of you have been proud managers of behavior while starving purpose. That ends now. And here is the priority that will keep you honest. Vision is more important than leadership. Why? Because without vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29-18. With clear vision, leaders emerge. Vision is the magnet. Leadership is the metal that moves. Leaders don't push, purpose pulls. Lift your head. Genesis 1:26 is still your birth certificate. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. Dominion, rad, rulership by assignment, not abuse. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Say it with me. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. Again, louder. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. Your identity is not a mood. It is a mandate. Authority flows when image and assignment kiss in public. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23-7. So think like what you are. Carry yourself like what heaven said. Your job is what they pay you to do. Your work is what you were born to do. If they fire you, your gift goes with you. Take your gift to your gate and watch authority appear. Say this out loud. I'm not here to control. I'm here to influence. Leaders don't push, purpose pulls. One more time, purpose pulls. Write this down. Your presence must become a promise of purpose. When you walk in, people should feel a destination, not a dictator. That is kingdom leadership. Image revealed, assignment released, fruit recognized. Here is your charge, and it is not negotiable. Number one toleration today, not tomorrow. Today before midnight. Call the meeting and end the gossip loop. Cancel the committee that produces no decisions. Remove the policy that punishes initiative. Publish the decision rights that remove bottlenecks. Shut the back door that leaks trust. Write this down. Whatever you tolerate, you authorize. So revoke it. Leadership is born when toleration ends. Number 2, deploy one gift this week. Don't promise it. Do it. If your gift is wisdom, schedule one problem-solving session and eliminate a root cause. If your gift is teaching, host a 30-minute clinic and elevate a skill. If your gift is administration, simplify a process and return hours to people's lives. Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, let us use them. Romans 12-6. Use them. When you serve your gift, followers find you without advertising. Write this down. Fruit creates demand. Stop begging for attention. Deliver value. Number 3, tell one fruit story next session. Stories make vision visible. Document 1, verifiable change, time saved, error removed, heart mended, courage raised, cost reduced. By their fruits ye shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Your story is your affidavit. Bring it. We don't clap for noise here. We celebrate proof. You will not only inspire others, you will anchor your own belief system. Faith grows where evidence sleeps on the table. Now protect your mind, because mindset is the governor. Say it with me. Leadership is 80% mentality and 20% skill. If your internal speed limit reads 55, you will tap the brakes at 56 even when the road is clear. Remove the limit. How? Saturate your heart with what the manufacturer said. Recite your one-sentence vision morning and night. Keep your covenant operating system visible. Review the fruit dashboard every Monday. Ask the engine questions. Where did we drift? Where did we demonstrate? Who needs oil? Who is our $4 wire? Fix it before Friday. Write this down. Short feedback loops prevent long funerals. Keep the engine aligned and the car will run. Who's the leader under the hood? No one and everyone. Each part leads in its lane when purpose pulls the whole. This is not theory, it is scripture in motion. The Lord working with them and confirming the word with signs following. Mark 16-20. God does not confirm fantasies. He confirms words aligned with identity and action. When you move in purpose, signs follow motion. Joshua heard, "Be strong and of a good courage, for the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest." Joshua 1-9. Goest, movement. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the reinforcement of vision. Write this down. Vision is more important than leadership, because leadership without vision is speed without direction. I charge you in one toleration today. Deploy one gift this week. Tell one fruit story next session. Guard these three like a vow. They will rewire your culture from the inside out. They will dignify your people because they will feel purpose calling them by name. They will dignify you because you will stop pushing and start pulling. Say it with me. I lead by influence. I align by vision. I move by assignment. I measure by fruit. Again, I lead by influence. I align by vision. I move by assignment. I measure by fruit. Write this down. Your identity-fueled vision authorizes you. Stop waiting for permission slips from insecure people. Heaven has already signed your release. Arise, shine, for thy light is come. Isaiah 60:1. Arise is a verb. Shine is a verb. Move. And we continue together. Study vision until it studies you. Refine your belief until your heart stops arguing with your future. Keep the engine aligned. Covenant coaches, weekly vision briefs, peer-led improvements, fruit dashboards, agreement before assignment, guardrails without handcuffs, freedom within fences. As we do this, do not be surprised when rooms recalibrate when you arrive, when doors open because your name stands for solutions, when anxious systems breathe because identity brought order. One last time, say it with me like you mean it. I'm not here to control, I'm here to influence. Leaders don't push, purpose pulls. I am not an accident, I am an assignment. My work carries authority. By their fruits they shall know me. Now go. Deploy your gift, end your toleration. Tell your story. And may the God who imprinted his image in you confirm your word with signs following as you lead, not by force, but by the holy gravity of vision fulfilled.